Hi team, Melissa from Melissa vs Fibromyalgia here. I just wanted to talk to you today about symphysis pubis disorder, sometimes called pelvic girdle pain. Now this is something that I struggled with in the third trimester with my second baby, except I didn't know that's what it was. I had severe pain in my lower back and I kept telling the physio and the midwife and the doctor, and nobody really understood it wasn't just fibro, because I had struggled with my previous pregnancy as well. So I suspect I had the same thing. It was diagnosed a few days postpartum by a physio, but at that point the damage was really done. I had to use stirrups in delivery, which is a really bad thing to do with SPD. And it took a good 9 months to regain kind of proper movement and to walk without so much pain. So in this pregnancy, naturally, I wondered when it might occur again, and unfortunately it did start around week 10. I had hoped that maybe it was just hormonal and to do with the fact that the uterus is moving up past the pelvic bone. But at week 13 it's still going. So I've created a bit of a post with some information because I feel like this is really important. I read somewhere that the incidence of SPD is actually higher for people with illnesses like fibromyalgia, so yay. So basically movement or gentle exercise is the number one intervention recommended for fibromyalgia, and you probably picked up on my love of yoga if you've read any amount of my blog posts or even seen a few of my videos at this point. Unfortunately, most yoga poses are off the table because I literally can't move my legs wider than hip width apart, or it causes quite a lot of pain. Now basically SPD is a condition where the pelvis relaxes a bit too far. So once you're pregnant you have the relaxin hormone, which is preparing your body to kind of release a baby. But there's a lot more detail in the article I provide below. It's on WebMD, and it's literally called Pelvic Girdle Pain, the article, but I'll link it below. So if you'd like to read all about it, you can there. But here is my tips of the things that I started doing. So at week 10, I was so happy because yeah, it stank that I was in pain, but I knew what to do straight away, so I can kind of head off, I hope, the worst of it. So I've kept my legs within the hip width apart kind of range of movement. I have rested and paced. I found in the evenings that having a sit down between big tasks like bathing the children or feeding the children has really helped with those pain levels at the end of the day. And that's a really good tip just for managing fibromyalgia in general. I applied my heat pack, so this was really helpful in the evening once I'm getting very sore. Heat is fantastic. I've also been using my deep heat cream, but that's something you have to decide if you're willing to use. It's non-medicated, but you can Google the ingredients and decide if that's for you. Don't use deep heat with the heat pack, use one or the other. I rubbed in my essential oil pain cream. Again, this is something else you need to research. I have a post on essential oils. Generally it's recommended, it's generally approved to use essential oils like lavender in pregnancy externally only and at a light dilution, so not too much lavender to your carrier oil. So it probably shouldn't be a very strong smelling dilution, but you can look up that information if you like. I've been doing pelvic tilts like crazy. So this is something I learnt in my third trimester with Wyatt. Now, nobody ever really told me, but it just felt natural. So I get on all fours and do pelvic tilts. Pelvic tilt is kind of the minor movement. So it's really focusing on the on that on the curving of the back more than the arching of the back, because you've got to be really careful once you've got that heavy belly, because it can really put pressure on your front abdominal wall and on your back. So I mean, you can get a sense of how it feels for you. I definitely altered my range of movement as I got bigger, but I actually feel it's really good for you and really strengthening to spend time on all fours and just gently engaging the tummy and doing those pelvic tilts. So that's really great to start really early on so that you start getting comfortable in that position because it's an amazing position when you're dealing with labor. That was my go-to position, especially because it meant my back was available for my husband to put counter pressure on my low back, because I experience back pain for everything. The second there's a hormonal component, so pregnancy or period, my back goes. So and that's really useful. The pelvic support band. So it's not really recommended to be using the strict pelvic band so early on, because you really want to retain, the ability of your muscles to do their jobs. But my physio said when it's acute, you need to put it on and support it, and I've actually found it made such a difference. I also saw my physio, because I see her every 2 or 3 weeks anyway, but she gave me an isometric strengthening move. So it's basically a minor squat. So I keep my legs hip width apart, and I lower down a little and then engage my pelvic floor, my core, my glutes and my legs, and then slowly rise up to the top and then let go. So it's inhale down and exhale while everything's engaged till you're up. And she said literally do this, several times in a row and several times a day. And that's going to be basically all I can do in terms of my strengthening, because I can't do any squats or lunges or any other real type of exercise to strengthen those areas. So I really like having something that will hopefully preempt things getting worse. And I've also asked my midwife for a referral to the hospital for specialist input. This is specialist physio input. I've been to the hospital to talk to their specialists about pregnancy and fibromyalgia at the beginning of each of my other 2 pregnancies, and it was a really disappointing appointment, because both times they didn't seem to think that pregnancy had anything to do with fibromyalgia, and that is a video event for another time, because obviously your body is a whole and what affects one part affects another. So anyway, not going to see those ones. But in my pregnancy diaries videos, you'll see that it starts to come up, I think from around week 10. I start discussing it, so you'll hear the things that I have been doing to head it off there as well. But meanwhile, the stretches that I've managed to keep doing, and they're pretty much all yoga stretches because I love yoga, have been the pelvic tilt / cat and cow pose, which you can easily Google, but I'll provide as many links as possible in the article. And puppy pose. So this is a really great one. It's meant to be really great for positioning for the baby. So I really like the fact that it's useful for pregnancy and for pain. Child's pose, so that's nice and relaxing. I'm finding it a little painful because as your belly gets bigger, you do have to spread your legs a little apart for your belly to fit. So eventually we're going to get outside of my range of movement, so that's just going to get a bit uncomfortable. But for now, that's fantastic for your back. And actually, you can modify downward dog later to be kind of like child's pose and get that same stretch in the low back by leaning onto a bed. So for example, if you're standing straight up and then you lean forward onto the bed, and you'll feel that stretch in your back, and so that's another way to activate that area and stretch that area. Mountain pose is one that you can do, so that's a really good strengthening pose. So really, I do encourage you to Google that one and learn about that. Forward bend is fantastic. I love it for my neck, and I've done it for a long time, and there's no reason not to do it as long as I'm feeling well while I'm doing it. I do definitely bend my knees quite a lot now when I'm doing forward bend, and I don't stay in the pose for as long. And neck stretches as usual, because I'm always stretching my neck. And shoulder stretches, they're kind of new. I'm trying my best to really head off. The trigger points go a bit crazy, and that's probably a subject for a whole other video, but lying on my side is not my friend. So shoulder stretches I've had to start, and then down dog, that's an amazing all over body stretch and strengthener. So that one's fantastic. Again, you can bend your legs and do it for as long as comfortable, and do Google downward dog for pregnancy so that you can get a sense of it. If you've never done these things prior to pregnancy, it's really a good idea to get some advice before you start doing them. I haven't been able to do much other exercise than incidental walking between work and the kids, but I've actually done quite a lot more incidental walking than I have before, just because I'm going out to work now and I've got to walk to and from the car and across the building, and I work in a hospital building, so I'm walking quite long distances just to get in and out of work. So hopefully something here helps you. Please do clear everything with a physical therapist, because SPD, on the one hand, you're managing pain now, and on the other hand, we're trying to head off issues. So because I've had SPD before, I'm at danger of diastasis, which is actually the pelvis separating. It probably did that last time as well, which is why I had such severe pain. So I need to do everything possible to avoid that, because when I have a new baby, I want to be focusing on having a new baby and nursing this baby, hopefully successfully. So I'd really like to avoid all that pain. Also, I'd like to keep working as long as possible. And to be able to work, I have to be able to physically walk into work. So these are all the things that I'm doing. I'll give you updates later on, and I would love to hear your experience, or if you have any tips, if you have anything awesome that you have heard of or that you've done that has really helped you, please do let me know in the comments below. Please do like and subscribe to my channel, because then I know that you are liking these videos and I can keep making more. And do please let me know if you have suggestions for other videos, and I'll put the link below also to my group, Pregnancy and Fibromyalgia. We have an amazing group, and if you have questions, you chuck them in and you get more than just me. You get so many women who are experiencing it right now, or have, or are trying to conceive. So it's all that whole lifespan of pregnancy, so it's very exciting. So I look forward to seeing you over there. I will catch you next time. Bye.